folks. Welcome to week number 2 of Interpersonal Communications Online at Hennepin Technical College, spring of 2015. Hopefully you folks were able to get a good start on the semester last week with the 2 extra credit assignments that were assigned. Hopefully you were able to upload your scavenger hunt and expectations into the Dropbox and respond to the discussion question and learn about your VARC learning styles. So I will be looking at those and grading those over the next couple of days. My hope is to get them, the points recorded by early next week. So here we go. We are off and running into the semester. As you see on the screen, I have up our semester schedule. And I'm just going to talk really quickly about what's coming up for week number 2, which is January 19th through January 23rd. So next week, folks, we are focusing on Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is just a fabulous introduction to the whole idea of interpersonal communication. It gives you a little bit of the history. It gives you just kind of some really foundational information that you know to kind of to start your study and exploration of interpersonal communication. So I'm going to ask that you read Chapter 1. And prepare for our first quiz, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So as you read Chapter 1, know that you do have a discussion posting, number 1 that is due, and 2 responses to classmates that are due by Wednesday, January 21st. You also have your first quiz, which is due by Friday, January 23rd. So those are the 2 assignments that are due for this week. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back under Table of Contents, click on that, and I am going to have a look under Chapter 1 here, or Unit number 1. Here's your checklist of things that you will need to accomplish this week. Do note that in addition to the checklist under Unit 1, you also will see the PowerPoint slideshows. I encourage you to download that and print that out so that, and I wouldn't print, I would save some ink and paper. I would just print like 6 black and white slides to a sheet of paper, and I would use that for note taking. It's also on our Cengage website as well. The PowerPoints are there. I also have tucked them underneath each one of the units. I want to click next on the discussion descriptions and the grading rubric. If you've had an online course before, you know that all instructors do it just a little bit differently as far as how they grade and assess discussion postings. So this document that I pulled up has a listing of all of your discussion postings, and you'll see the discussion posting number 1 that is here with its related reading, which is Chapter 1. What I would like you to do is go out and click on this website. And this is a website that goes through the different views of communication. It goes through linear, interactive, and then the transactional model of communication. While you're here, while you're on this website, if you just click next, it'll move you from model to model. So you really can see how the model of communication has developed over time and what things have changed and what things have been deleted. And that's really what I'm asking you to write about. My first question that I'm asking you to write about are what elements are consistent across all 3 of those models. What elements have changed or have been added as you watch the development across those 3 models. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, can you think of a communication experience in your own life where the interaction was similar to that shown in the linear model? And I'm going to ask you to just kind of pay really close attention to the linear model, and again focusing on the fact that when you're in a linear model, the sender receiver has little or no feedback. So it's just a linear, it's a straight line. So I want you to think about a time in your life when maybe you had that kind of linear model in your communication. And I have just a quick note here that most communication situations are better represented with the transactional model, which is what we currently use now in the study of communication. So you're going to answer those 2 questions, and I'm just going to slide down here past the other descriptions, and we're going to just look at the grading rubric really quick. So each discussion posting is worth 15 points. 10 points for how you respond to the discussion questions, and then 5 points if you respond to at least 2 of your classmates. The grading rubric that I'm going to use is below each of your initial writings. And remember, folks, that you have to post first in the discussion area before you get to see your classmates' responses. So your initial discussion posting should be between 100 and 150 points, or excuse me, 150 words in length. And please do not attach your posting as a document. If you want to create your posting in Word, that's fine, but then do cut and paste it into the discussion text box. So what I'm going to be looking for as I grade your discussion postings is, if we're looking just down here on the left side, and this is a 10 out of 10 or a superior discussion posting, I'm looking that you display a clear and in-depth understanding of the reading. You will do that by including at least 4 definitions from our textbook with the page number cited. So as you're answering the questions, I'm expecting you to apply concepts and theories. So if we go back up to the questions that you are answering, one of the things I'm asking is about the linear, interactive, and transactional model. So out of chapter 1, as you're answering that question, you probably at least want to include a definition of what is linear, and so that you know each of those models. But any of the concepts from chapter 1 that seem relevant in answering that question, I do want you to cite, including the definition and the page number. I, of course, want you to clearly address both of the questions. I want you to provide an original and thoughtful answer. I want you to connect what you're reading with your own experiences. So in that second question says, when have you in your own life, when have you had an experience of linear communication? So I'm looking for you to connect it. This, to me, folks, is really where the learning happens. It's you reading the material and then being able to take a step back and reflect and say, wow, I just learned about these 3 models. Where in my life can I apply these models, or when can I use these models to really understand my own communication? That's where true understanding and true development of communication skills begin. So you also need to, in addition to that response to those 2 questions, you also need to respond to at least 2 classmates. Your responses do not need to cite concepts from the textbook, but they do need to be at least 50 to 75 words in length. So I encourage you, as you are writing your discussion postings, to print out the grading rubric here. Keep it in front of you. When I do the evaluation and grading of your discussion rubrics, or excuse me, your discussion postings, this is the rubric I will use. So truly, folks, I'm not trying to trick you or get you to kind of guess what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I'm looking for in your discussion postings. And again, if you are more comfortable sending me your discussion posting before you are all done or before you post it, feel free to do that. Do give me at least a couple of days, though, to look at it and give you some feedback and send the feedback back to you via email. Once you upload your posting into the discussion area, I'm going to assume it's your final posting. So if you do want my feedback and comments, make sure that you email it to me at least 2 or 3 days ahead of time. Okay, so that's the discussion posting. Remembering again that these are due on Wednesday, both your response to the 2 discussion questions and then 2 responses to your classmates. And then on Friday, you have your first online quiz. And I do have some quiz taking tips that I just want to go through quickly with you. And just kind of remind you that each quiz has 13 multiple choice and or true and false questions. But it's really important to remember that you only have 20 minutes to complete the quiz. So I know you had other online classes where perhaps you had time to look up answers in your book or really look through your notes. That is not the case with these quizzes. Because there's 13 questions and you only have 20 minutes, you have to know the information in your head. So you have to have studied, you have to truly know the information. When you are taking the quiz, please know that there's a timer that appears right in the quiz box. Please pay attention to that, because as it says here, if you go over that 20-minute quiz window, you do receive a 0 on your quiz. So you want to make sure that you pay close attention to the quiz timer. Also, please make sure that when you're taking the quiz, that you take it in a spot that you know that you have a pretty consistent internet connection. There's nothing more stressful for students than to be in the middle of the quiz and all of a sudden their internet goes out. You can go back and re-enter the quiz if you're within that 20 minutes, but it's really stressful, and then you've lost that valuable time logging out and logging back in. So once you complete the quiz, you should see your score immediately, and you should see the questions that you answered incorrectly. I don't have all of the answers out on our D2L site simply because there are quite a few instructors that are using the same quiz bank that I am using, and so we've kind of agreed that we won't have all of the answers out there for students. Here are just some following steps that I would take to help you prepare for the quizzes. I would first just read each chapter. Read it thoroughly in a quiet environment. Tune off the TV, turn off your music, shut down Facebook, put your phone away, and just just soak in the material in a quiet environment. The second thing I would do is to print out the PowerPoint slides. Again, showed you where they are right underneath content. They are also on the Cengage website, and I would print them out as handouts, 6 slides to a page, and I would save some ink and just print them in black and white. I would go through and read the chapter a second time, this time taking notes on your PowerPoint slides, add page numbers for terms and definitions. The third thing I would do then, after taking notes using the slides, is I would go to our Cengage site. I for sure would review the flashcards for that assigned chapter. I would also check out the practice quizzes. Students tell me they love the games, so maybe to play a game or two just to make sure that you're understanding the concepts. So I would do that, and I would just kind of a note, folks, I would do this before you do your discussion posting. Simply because once you've read the material, you have the definitions, now you're really ready to sit down and do the discussion posting and include those 4 definitions and page numbers that you need to in order to earn full points on your discussion posting. I just think it's really helpful to read the material, post on it, read your classmates' postings. All of that helps you to review the material before you take the quiz. The last thing I would do right before you take the quiz is to review your PowerPoint slides with your notes. Review that vocabulary summary. If you look in the very back of your textbook, there are vocabulary sheets for each chapter that you can rip out. I would definitely rip those out and use those as you're quizzing. Now, as you sit down to quiz, folks, remember, because it's an online class, everything is fair game. Your book is fair game, your notes are fair game, your PowerPoint slides are fair game. So do have all of those out in front of you and really truly be ready to answer the quiz questions. Okay, so those are my tips on doing well. And again, folks, remember that the quizzes are half of your grade, so you do really want to do well on those quizzes and make sure that you're prepared for them. So here we go again, just the checklist for this week. Please let me know if you do have any questions and if you're wondering about anything. Again, my purpose in doing videos and trying to stay connected is that you know that I'm here, that you're not out there wondering about something or struggling with something. Please email me and let me know if you are having any challenges. In the meantime, enjoy the beautiful weather. It sounds like it's going to be a warm weekend. So get out and enjoy it. And please let me know if you are struggling and I can help. Take care, folks.